Headline reads, Minister Guilbeault holds financial interest in a firm linked to a controversial federal fund. His office flatly refuses to give details on the subject. As we all know, Minister Guilbeault has held a financial interest in Cycle Capital. Cycle Capital has received well over $600 million from the scandalous Green Slush Fund. He holds a financial interest as a minister. This committee passed a motion on October 7th, 2024. I'm asking for an update, Mr. Chair. Has he accepted our invitation to attend?
Hey gang, just Aaron right here, Canadian Looney. I've got some thinking to do. We're going to the Lower Boylston Park to do some walking and talking. It might be a lot of standing still in front of the camera, but we're going to somewhere pretty to discuss the things that are on my mind. Oh. Let's go. Here we are, Boylston Park. We're going to take a walk and we'll have a talk about what's going on in Canadian federal politics. Let's take a look. Alright gang, we're going to do a quick walk while we intro this video. It's another Wild Committee video, guys. They do not slow down. I guess they won't slow down because the Trudeau scams and scandals won't slow down. There seems to be a new one every day. Every goddamn day. Larry Brock has a big announcement, a big bomb to drop here at the beginning, and well, you can tell Larry's getting a bit frustrated in these committees because the witnesses are so difficult all the time.
Opening remarks, Mr. Hogan. We'll
Point of order, Chair.
Oh, just 1 second, please, Ms. Hogan. We'll come right back to you.
Mr. Chair, today an explosive story hit from the Journal de Montréal. Headline reads, Minister Guilbeault holds financial interest in a firm linked to a controversial federal fund. His office flatly refuses to give details on the subject. As we all know, Minister Guilbeault has held a financial interest in Cycle Capital. Cycle Capital has received well over $600 million from the scandalous Green Slush Fund. He holds a financial interest as a minister. This committee passed a motion on October 7th, 2024. I'm asking for an update, Mr. Chair. Has he accepted our invitation to attend? He's got a lot of questions to answer. If he refuses to answer in the press, he will not be able to use that excuse here at committee.
Thank you, Mr. Brock. I'll provide just a brief update. So we have, the clerk and I have extended the committee's motion and request for the Environment Minister to appear. He has yet to do so. We have sent reminders, and we have made the committee available on dates of his choosing, but we have not heard a response in the affirmative yet.
Thank you, Chair.
It would seem that corrupt Environmental Minister Stephen Guilbeault is in too deep. He's double dipping, guys. Stephen Guilbeault is a crook. We know that. We've seen him in the orange suit. We'll see him in the orange suit again because what he's doing here is breaking the law. Let's kick it off with Larry Brock. He is a fun guy to watch, guys. Let's go, Larry. Well, you can tell Larry's getting a bit frustrated in these committees because the witnesses are so difficult all the time. They don't have the answers that Canadians deserve. And they come off as being entitled to not have to answer these questions. Anyways, Larry Brock is on fire in this one.
Members, 6 minutes each. Mr. Brock, you'll lead things off for us today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you to all the witnesses for your attendance today and your previous attendance at numerous committees. What we are talking about today, at least from my perspective, is the ongoing examination, prosecution of the ArriveCan scandal. It clearly exposed the failures of Canada's broken procurement system and the fraudulent misuse of hard-earned taxpayer funds. One consistent response I get from Canadians from coast to coast is they're demanding accountability, they're demanding consequences, and they're demanding recovery. So it is those two latter points, consequences and recovery, which would be the focus of my first round of questions. Ms. Reza, Deputy Minister Reza, you've appeared numerous times at this committee and also government operations. A question was put to you when you appeared last June at government operations with respect to the total cases of contracting fraud that had been referred to lawful authorities, particularly the RCMP. I have your response to that particular question, and you said, we have previously referred many fraudulent overbilling cases from 2022, 2023, 2024 to the RCMP, but it was devoid of details. So I'm asking you if you could explain what you meant about we have previously referred many cases. What does that mean? Can you give me a number, please?
I certainly will. And I want to give you, thank you very much for the question, Mr. Chair, a baseline. The procurement system in Government of Canada, both at PSPC and more broadly, does about 400,000 procurement transactions. So those are contracts and contracts amendments. Since 2022, under the auspices of PSPC, we've started to use data analytical and mining approaches to be able to look at contracting data. Since that time, and I think that we'll have to break it into two, at that time when I indicated the ones that had been referred, it was 4 cases that had been referred. That was from 2022. We provided in camera to OGO the names that were referred to RCMP.
Okay.
Since that time, there's been 3 further referrals in October to the RCMP for similar overbilling to the Government of Canada.
Okay, so that's 7 in total?
That is correct.
Okay, and that's for the year 2024, or does that include that years from 2022 to 2024?
It includes everything that we found since 2022. We're
Okay.
constantly looking, but this is what's been found to date.
All right. You gave us the names. There was a little bit of pushback, I believe, particularly from Ms. Poulin. There was some pushback. Eventually, you gave us the names. I would like the names then of those additional 4 referrals. If you have that information now, please share. If you need to table it at a later date, I'll allow you to do that. Is that something that you're prepared to do?
Absolutely. When it was asked last time, we provided it within 21 days. We will provide it in the same format to this committee.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm also mindful of the fact that Minister Duclos, in late spring, in addition to Minister Anand, was quite concerned about the level of contracting fraud with subcontractors and indicated that the initial 3 was simply the first wave of suspected fraudulent billing. He did indicate very clearly that there would be additional waves. So do I take that to mean the 4 additional referrals represent that additional wave?
My high-level understanding. We can get some details from Madame Poulin.
Thank you for the question. So the referral that has been made in October are 3. So there's 3 new cases, and this represents the second wave of fraudulent billing cases.
And will there be further waves? Are you still examining in fine detail from top to bottom any other potential criminality, particularly in contracting?
So let me start by answering this. It's going to be something that is evergreen, ongoing. So we look for the best ways to inform Canadians and parliamentarians on it, but to think that it's one wave after another, as I indicated, we do 400,000 procurement transactions a year. We've started to really review it using data analytics. We have, since 2022, now found a total of 7 cases. We can talk about restitutions. It would be inconceivable to me not to think that we are going to continue to do this type of work and continue to uncover overbilling.
Okay. So dovetailing on the Auditor General's report, which provided some detailed examples of potential criminality, in my respective opinion, about certain contractors, GC Strategies, Government of Canada Strategies being one of them, Christian Firth, completely under RCMP investigation. In fact, it had his home raided the night before he was to testify at the bar of the House of Commons. He's definitely looking at fraudulent charges. So the question of recovery, there was a motion that was passed in the House towards the latter end of the last session, which demanded that the government provide details as to what steps they were taking for recovery. I have since asked a number of ministers through a very number of mediums as to what steps they're taking to recover, and I never get a clear answer, no answer at all. So, Ms. Reza, what instructions have you been given by Minister Duclos or any other minister or the Prime Minister or the PMO's office in terms of recovery efforts?
In terms of recovery efforts, we have made the commitment to the minister to look at how we can recover the funds that were spent on the contract. We have written to GC Strategies and other companies, as it relates to ArriveCan, to put them on notice that we're reviewing it and working with CBSA. CBSA is the client in this. We're helping them go through invoices. We're helping them to look at whether there was overbilling or fraud. Let me pause here. Est-ce que tu as quelque chose à rajouter?
No, I think the answer is completed. So each client department is responsible to recover the funds if they think they have been fraudulently overbilled or if they haven't received the service for which they pay for.
Thank you. That is the time, Mr. Brock.
MP Larry Brock, I suspect, will be our next Attorney General, guys. He's an incredible force out there. There's not many MPs that can hold or carry the water that Larry Brock does. He's so well spoken, his questions are driving, right? All the time, every time. Larry Brock is sharp. Let's take a peek at some of these useless witnesses that he's going to bounce his smart questions off of. They're like Teflon though, bunch of public servant idiots, liberal insiders appointed to positions to screw over Canadians. Sick of it.
Ms. Raj.
Beginning our third round, Mr. Brock, you have the floor for 5 minutes.
Madame Poulin, I think the collective jaws of all concerned taxpayers hit the floor in your response to my colleague, Mr. Macaulay, about the Government of Canada working with fraudsters to pay back illegally, in my view, obtained taxpayer funds. So I'm going to do a deeper dive on this. How did you distinguish between working with potential fraudsters and those individuals that you referred directly to the RCMP? What was the metric by which you determined I'll work with them on a civil basis versus a criminal basis?
Merci beaucoup pour la question, Monsieur le Président. Donc, en fait, il est important de mentionner
It's important to mention that investigations were carried out on the people who were subcontractors. Fraud and other criminal elements are linked to those people's actions. No criminal action was discovered with the prime contracts.
You're not a criminal investigator. You have responded to Mr. Macaulay that the individuals you are working with in terms of a repayment agreement, having them sign a document that absolves them of any liability, any criminality, any responsibility. In essence, they chose intentionally to double, triple, perhaps quadruple time for the work that they did, and the Government of Canada paid them for those services. That, by its very definition, Madame Poulin, is fraud. That's an intentional act to deprive the taxpayer of funds. How many of those subcontractors is the Government of Canada working with currently? How many? Just the number.
Merci pour la question, Monsieur le Président. Donc,
Thank you for the question. Before we can conclude that there is fraud, we have to say that there is no prime contractor that submitted an invoice Inaudible.
Was very specific and direct. How many subcontractors who doubled, tripled, quadrupled billing to the Government of Canada are you working with in terms of repayment agreements? Just the number, please.
Merci pour la question.
Thank you for the question. 0 is the answer.
Zero.
Zero.
Then who are you working with? And what agreements are you trying to have them sign and to repay?
So perhaps if you permit me to take a clarity on this, we have referred 7 cases to RCMP as we described. These are individuals, consultants, who have done time theft. We are negotiating or seeking a restitution from the prime. That is our contractual relationship. They are paying us back. The negotiation settlement agreement is with the prime, who's also been defrauded. We are not negotiating with the consultants. They're going right to the RCMP.
Okay, thanks for the clarification, Ms. Reza, because the impression that I received, and I'm sure taxpayers have received, is you're cutting brakes to potential fraudsters. So that is not the case. The Government of Canada is not doing that. Where there is a suspicion of fraudulent activity or any criminal activity, you are defaulting to the RCMP. Is that correct?
Oui.
Okay. Those contractors that you're working with in terms of repayment agreements, how much money has been recovered?
Merci pour la question, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you for the question. We're talking about $800,000. $420,000 has been received. $380,000 is going to be paid, and we are simply awaiting payment.
There's more money coming, as we've noted in this committee before, or at OGO. It's a 4.5 defraud. We're not stopping at 800,000. We're just seeking restitution and building the capacity. What was in individual departments now is vested in PSPC to collect it.
Okay, 800,000 potentially in total. Half of that has been repaid, correct?
Merci pour la question. Oui, on a reçu.
Yes, we've received about $400,000.
Cover the balance of the 800,000.
Donc, on a travaillé en étapes avec tout.
We've worked with the different suppliers. Some still have time to respond. I believe we're expecting final responses at the end of November.
Mr. Brock, I'll give you a few extra seconds next time to make up for it.
Go, Larry, go. Is Larry your favorite? Leave it in the comments if he is. Let me know who your favorite is if it's not Larry. He's got to be in your top 5. We're going to wrap this video up right here. My name's Aaron, Canadian Looney. Thank you very much for watching. Appreciate you watching the videos. Like, share, subscribe, get notified. Come and join us for one of our live shows. It's a great time. Come check us out. We've got to be informed, got to watch to know what is really happening in Canadian federal politics. Aaron, Canadian Looney. Like, share, subscribe, get notified, all those fun things. We'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching this one. We're gonna head out. It's a bit windy on this bridge, but check out the view. Come back, like, share, subscribe. We've got more videos coming. Let's check out the view. Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.